Hi, hello there. Have you ever got into a situation where your life itself was in danger or at stake? Well, I, for one, did get into that type of situation. This experience or situation happened to me back when I was in the Philippines. I was around 10 years old, and it was it happened during Sunday afternoon after mass. After mass, and as I was walking from the church to my house, I felt as if I had fever and feeling ill. As I got home, my I told my mother about it, and she said to just cool down for a bit since it was hot always in the Philippines, especially in the afternoon. A few hours passed, and I did not even feel good. I felt still ill and hot. My mother then checked my temperature, and even checked around my body for like bites or even injuries or anything. And she was right. She found something. It was a mosquito bite in my neck. After finding that mosquito bite, she then proceeded to say we were going to the hospital for a checkup. After we went to the hospital, we then waited for in line for a checkup. All I thought was, well, maybe it's just a normal fever. It's not anything else. I was just worried about even like what my classes were doing or what I'm gonna miss out on stuff for my school. And my mother then told me that she wasn't overreacting or anything. She told me that maybe I had dengue fever and it was very rampant in where I used to live. If you're wondering what dengue fever is, well, dengue fever is from mosquitoes and infected mosquitoes to be in fact. It's dengue is a viral infection that is transferred from infected mosquitoes through humans by mosquito bites, and I had one. So my mother was just being precautious since she was also a nurse and she thought it was not a normal fever. And so the nurses there said I was gonna go into a ward and stay there since I had high fever, and so that they can examine me and stuff. They even said that my blood was fine, so yeah, I thought I was gonna be there for a couple days. And the people who accompanied me during that technical first day in the ward or I was hospitalized was my lolo, my grandfather, and my mom. And now you may be asking, well, where is my dad? Well, my dad at that time was working in Tinian, and basically he was an overseas Filipino worker, or in short, OFW. OFWs are basically overseas workers who provide for the family in the Philippines. That said, all I did was rest, do this and that, just rest most of the time. And the second day came, we were moved to a room since my fever was still not gone. And my mom then told my Lolo to go back home and where we lived at because my fever was not gone. So she was scared that I might transfer it to him or something. So my auntie then switched roles with my Lolo, and now she's taking care of me with my mother. During this time, I was just napping, resting, and the next day came, and I was happy because my fever was gone. I felt as if I was a normal person. I didn't feel anything. And then that's when things got worse. Because during that night, I got my fever back. And with that fever, I had rashes. With those rashes and high fever, it felt as if my body was just being killed two times because I couldn't sleep. I was just having my energy drained, and I just kept slapping, smacking, anything to just like stop the itching from my body. My auntie and my mother just kept putting wet cloth around my body just to like relieve it, but it didn't even work at all. So I started crying, and I couldn't just help it because everything was just itchy and irritating. After that, they told me to divert myself, and I did. I watched the TV in the room that was provided, and even the laptop, but still, my energy was gone. I felt irritated. Then the fourth day came, same thing happened, the itchiness and fever. The fifth day came, and that's when another alarming thing happened to me, which was, well, bleeding. And I coughed out blood, and even my gums were bleeding. Bleeding was a bad sign since my platelets were already down. And if you don't know what platelet is something that is one component of the blood. And with that time, the medical technologist came in, and they always come every hour for the past 4 days. And this time it hurted because I was already losing a lot of blood, and they needed to take blood from me. And I cried more since it's as if I was getting stabbed or something, because I myself don't cry or even get scared of injections or vaccines or anything, but with the way they just insert the needle, it hurted, and then I cried for like how many minutes. And so after that crying session for a couple minutes, I asked my mom what dengue was about. She told me that it's mostly just gonna affect a lot of people and did kill a lot of kids in my age, and it caused harm to most of the organs in your body. And the next following morning, I heard a very, very large scream from the other room, and I asked my mom what was it, and she told me it was another kid that had dengue, and it was the mom crying and screaming because the kid died. And then after hearing that, I took a short nap, because who wouldn't want to take a short nap after hearing someone died in the next door where you were staying for a while. And as I woke up from that nap, I saw my mother at the side just praying, kneeling down and crying. She had like rosaries, anything that's crucifixes or anything that's Catholic related, and then she just cried at the side and then went back to sleep. And during the same day, she would feed me small amounts and even just fluids just to recover some of it. And even at this time, I was having a hard time to like conquer this illness I had. During the 7th day, a huge miracle happened in my life, which was my platelet numbers were going up. And then with that, they said it was not in the normal stage, but still it was good enough to like say, you're fine, you're doing good, you're already a survivor, you already did it. And I was already super happy after that point. And with that said, that trial in my life, most of the time it was prayers from my family was one of the weapons that made me just push through. But at the same time, the loving and caring of my mother was the one that really helped me, because without that I would have not been here. I would have been somewhere else, and I wouldn't been able to share with you what happened to me. But overall, trials itself or bad situations you get into are just a test to see if you can push through it and move forward, or it itself conquers you. And that's pretty much it. Goodbye.